There was one man. He taught in the deep mountains. He never met the lords of the states. Never fought for fame. And yet his students walked out of that valley and shook the world. One united 6 kingdoms against mighty Qin. Another tore those same kingdoms apart. Drew them toward Qin instead. Same teacher. 2 opposite roads. Both could turn the chessboard of the realm upside down. In the chaos of the warring states, the sharpest art of speaking into the human heart was hidden in this little book. Only a few thousand words. It is called Guiguzi. Good evening. This is Bedside Book Voice. Tonight we read Guiguzi, the master of Ghost Valley. If you're already lying down, good. Dim the lamp a little more. Set the phone farther away. Pull the blanket up. The title sounds a bit mysterious, doesn't it? In practice, it reads more like a seasoned negotiation coach at your ear. Slowly teaching you what the other person is thinking. How words should land. And when to speak or wait. Let me say this plainly first. Tonight, you don't need to memorize terms like opening and closing or flying clamps. You don't need to finish the whole book. Just follow my voice. Listen to a teacher who lived in Ghost Valley. And to the students who changed the warring states map, finding paths through the human heart, doors through speech. When we're done, you'll carry away a few reminders. The kind that stay with you a long while. If you fall asleep halfway, that's fine. Guiguzi won't scold you. I won't either. Many people have heard the names Su Qin and Zhang Yi without knowing the same quiet master stood behind them. This journey is about half an hour. You lie still. Leave understanding to me. Leave sleep to the bed. That opening question stays buried for now. How could one teacher train both vertical alliance and horizontal alliance? The answer sits in this book's cold, precise observations. About the human heart. About speech. We'll get there slowly. Who wrote Guiguzi? Scholars still argue. Tradition says the author was Guiguzi born Wang Xu, a man of the warring states who lived in Ghost Valley on Mount Yunmeng. So later ages called him the master of Ghost Valley. In the histories, you almost never find a full biography. He's more like a shadow in legend. Learning ran deep. Yet he never came down from the hills to claim credit. His students were fierce. Yet each walked a different road. The book itself is not long. 3 parts, upper, middle, and lower. It teaches how to observe people. How to open your mouth. How to advance and retreat. How to find a break in the tight places. Later readers often shelved it beside the stratagems of the warring states. Because it is the inner manual of that school of persuasion. Some wonder whether later hands wrote under his name. Tonight we're not detectives. We read the cold observations in the text. Whether they're accurate, you can test by daylight. That test matters more than the author's name. The horizontal strategists of the warring states were sometimes disliked in old China. Without them, though, we'd probably lack a whole branch of learning about speech. Guiguzi is the one who bound that learning into a thin volume. The volume is slim. The weight is not. Your first feeling reading Guiguzi may be this: it's a little cold. It doesn't preach broad righteousness. It speaks of interest. Of situation. Of which way the other person's inner scale tilts. Listen closer, and you'll find it's not teaching you to harm people. It teaches you to see clearly why someone nods, why someone shakes the head. Which words loosen a person. Which words tighten them. Tonight you'll hear familiar ideas under older names. Listening. empathy, timing, leverage. 2,000 years ago they were written as opening and closing, mirroring, and inner key. Don't let the old terms scare you. We'll unpack them one by one in plain speech. The whole book divides roughly into 3 blocks. The first talks about observing people and speaking. The middle lists concrete methods. The lower part adds essays on shifting with events and turning the circle. You needn't chew in strict order. Tonight we'll listen like a story and string the most important moves together. After that, when you open the original, it won't feel like cold iron on every page. In those years, envoys crossed borders constantly. One sentence could save a state or ruin one. There was no phone. No news feed. Information traveled by mouth. By seeing with your own eyes, hearing with your own ears. So speaking wasn't showing off. It was national life. Guiguzi broke speech into steps you could practice. That was advanced for its time. Today you type a line in a chat. Speak 5 minutes in a meeting. Urge someone gently at the dinner table. Underneath it is still the same few moves. Watch the person. Pick the moment. Open and close. Mirror and respond. The first core idea is called opening and closing. Open means to open. Close means to shut. Speech is like opening and closing a door. When you should open, you let the other person bring out what's inside. When you should close, you hold your cards. Don't pour everything out at once. Guiguzi says, to open is to show the outer situation clearly. To close is to hide the inner plan. Opening means laying the outer situation before them so they see gain and loss. Closing means tucking your own thoughts away. Not showing weakness too soon. Tonight, if you discuss something with family and open by slamming the table, showing every card, talks often break. If you first let them finish their worries, then gently show your reasons, that's the seed of opening and closing. It's not trickery. It's rhythm. Open first, then close. Say what should be said. Swallow what should not. Many people think close means staying silent. Close really means protecting yourself. Many think open means being eloquent. Open really means inviting the other person to speak first. Protection and invitation both matter. Opening and closing has another layer, outward and inward. Outward is situation, interest, the great trend of the realm. Inward is emotion, face, the small fear in the chest. When Guiguzi teaches opening and closing, he often asks first, can this person be opened? Can they be closed? Whether to open or shut depends on the person. With someone clear-minded, you may open. With someone full of suspicion, close first, then open slowly. In a daytime meeting, if someone stays silent, don't rush to force a stand. Close a little. Leave room. Sometimes that brings out the truth better than pushing. Some hear opening and closing and think deception. It's closer to rhythm. Song has rise and fall. Speech does too. Rise too high and the other person guards. Fall too long and they walk away. Guiguzi teaches you to control rhythm, not to control hearts. Controlling hearts exhausts you. It can turn back on you. Controlling rhythm leaves room for you and face for them. When face is kept, words can enter. Tonight, recall one talk that broke. Often the rhythm was wrong. You opened when you should have closed. Closed when you should have opened. Or you opened too hard and backed them into a corner. The second idea is mirroring. Mirroring is not as simple as answering back. It's like a mirror. First reflect their words. Then push one step along the grain. Guiguzi teaches, if you want to expand, first contract. If you want to take, first give a little. You want them to move in a direction. Sometimes you step the other way first. You want something. Sometimes you offer something first. It sounds like exchange. Really, it respects the inertia of the mind. Once people feel understood, they change tone more easily. The stratagems of the warring states hold many stories hard to verify. Yet the pattern repeats. An envoy meets a king. He doesn't open with blame. He praises. He doesn't ask at once. He questions. He speaks the sentence already in the king's heart. Then the king wants to keep listening. Mirroring means don't rush to refute. Catch their words first. Then turn. If you disagree with a colleague today, repeat their meaning first. Your worry is this, right? That often works better than you are wrong. Guiguzi also says, follow their words and listen to their meaning. Follow what they say and hear what lies beneath. Speech has 3 layers. What the mouth says. What the heart thinks. What they dare not say. Mirroring at depth means hearing the 3rd layer without exposing it. Only nudging lightly. Legend says when Su Qin's first round of persuasion failed and he went home, his sister-in-law would not feed him. If he had cursed on the spot, he would only vent while the standoff hardened. He chose to study hard and go out again later. That's the later story. At that moment he closed first, stored strength, then opened. Zhang Yi, it is said, also used mirroring after humiliation. Endure. Find the crack. Then speak. Stories grow in the telling. The point stays clear. Before you're understood, don't rush to win. Mirroring is sometimes silence. Sometimes repetition. Sometimes I hear you, and only then, I see it a little differently. The 3rd pair is sizing up and probing. Size up means to guess and read. Probe means to test and draw near. Guiguzi holds that if you don't know a person, you cannot truly plan with them. Knowing doesn't mean reading their household register. It means watching detail. What they value. What they fear. What they like to hear. What they avoid. Probing is a light touch inside speech to see how they react. You offer a hypothesis and watch whether they hurry or ease. You leave a little silence and watch whether they fill it or dodge. Today we call this reading people. Guiguzi called it probing the intent. He also says, you often want them to move this way and they move that. You often want them to move that way and they move this. So you must test. Don't settle the case after one guess. Before sleep, think of someone you met today. Was there a line you didn't really understand yet answered too fast? You may have probed too little. Probing also depends on place. In public, probe lightly. In private, probe deeper. When they're already irritated, pause. Don't probe hard against the mood. Sizing up also splits into shown and hidden. Shown is what they already said. Hidden is what they keep returning to without saying straight out. Someone keeps mentioning money. Not always greed. Maybe fear. Someone keeps mentioning fairness. Not always rigidity. Maybe need for respect. Probing is a gentle question. Which part matters more to you? Not an interrogation. More like chat. Guiguzi says, to read feeling, watch their greatest joy and greatest hate and you will know their state. You needn't wait for wild joy or rage. Watch which sentence speeds up and which brings sudden silence. You're already sizing up. The 4th idea is flying clamps. Fly means to lift. Clamp means to hold and steady. The idea is to use the right words to lift the other person slightly so they can't easily take back what they said, yet don't feel insulted. A common move is to catch their own good words or posture and remind them gently. Did you not just say this? It's not blackmail. It turns their own words into the road ahead. Flying clamps used badly feel like moral hostage-taking. Used well, they feel like giving them a step and giving you a path. Guiguzi warns, things have their nature. Affairs join in part. People differ in aim. Affairs unite and divide. Don't clamp too hard. Hard clamping breaks. So flying clamps require that you truly listen and truly remember. Don't invent. If you lead a team, remember what a colleague promised in a meeting, touch it lightly next time. Sometimes that flows better than a fresh command. Flying clamps aren't only for those above you. With friends and family too, don't grab small faults to shame. Only bring back the good they said so talk can continue. The fifth idea is inner key. Inner means inside. Key means the latch that opens a door. Inner key means finding the latch in the other person's heart, building trust so words can enter. Guiguzi says, affairs all have an inner key, tied from the beginning. On the surface it's interest. Underneath it's feeling, face, safety. Find the right key and words aren't floating in air. For a ruler it may be honor and security. For a friend it may be being understood. For family it may be do not make me lose face. Inner key is not flattery. It's finding what they truly care about and linking your words to that point. If tonight you remember one sentence you said wrong today, ask, did I touch their inner key or only my own temper? Inner key takes time. One night can't build it. One sincere listen can still be the first key. Guiguzi also says, inner key is how persuasive speech enters. To enter with words, first enter the door. If the door is shut, however fine the words, they knock outside. The sixth idea is finding the crack. Crack means the gap in a wall. Finding the crack means locating the seam in a situation, the break inside a contradiction. Nothing in the world is one solid plate. Beside strength there is often weakness. Inside unity there is often division. Guiguzi teaches, cracks are what the sage rides. The crack is the chance the wise person takes. This isn't teaching you to pick faults to harm. It teaches you to see where the problem sticks and where force should go. Qin's vertical alliance entered through the crack of 6 states fearing Qin. Zhang Yi's horizontal alliance entered through the crack of 6 states doubting one another. Same world. Different cracks. Different roads. In your own life, finding the crack can mean this: when a family freezes, find the smallest place that can still be talked about instead of opening with old scores. When a project stalls, find which link loosens a little instead of calling a meeting where everyone blames everyone. Finding the crack saves force. Hard pushing drains you. Before sleep, recall today's most irritating thing and ask, where is the crack? You needn't solve it tonight. Finding the crack alone unblocks the chest a little. There are also lesson and exchange and turn the circle. They sound like arithmetic. They're really advance and retreat. If the matter fails, lessen expectation a little and try another road. If words jam, turn a circle instead of hitting the south wall straight on. Guiguzi never treats failure as the end. He treats failure as information. This crack is wrong. Try another. If tonight you felt blocked everywhere, maybe you weren't lazy. Maybe you picked the wrong seam. Tomorrow, another angle is not defeat. Here you may ask what Guiguzi himself looked like. The histories give almost no standard answer. Legend says he lived in seclusion at Ghost Valley with a few disciples. Su Qin, Zhang Yi, Sun Bin, Pang Wan. You've probably heard those names. Later storytellers added color. Take it as legend. Still, you can read the contrast. The master never left the hills. The disciples shook the realm. Su Qin stood for vertical alliance. Legend says his first persuasion failed and he returned poor. His sister-in-law would not cook for him. Even his parents turned cold. He drove himself to study, tying his hair to a beam, pricking his thigh so he would not sleep. That's the thigh-pricking half of the old phrase people often pair with another man's beam story. When Su Qin went out again, he wore the seals of 6 states. His chariots stretched in a line. He won by turning the shared fear of 6 kingdoms into one seam. Qin strong means all weak. United means safe. Don't trust every detail. Hear the shape. Behind the rhetoric was situation. Zhang Yi was the same school, opposite road. He served Qin and broke the 6-state league. His most famous case involved Chu. He promised 600 li of land to make Chu break with Qi. In court he produced 6 li. The king of Chu raged. Historians dispute the facts. The pattern is clear. Sweet words first. Then pull the rope. Open first. Close later. Zhang Yi didn't fear being cursed. He feared the board not moving. If Guiguzi really sat in the hills, he probably wouldn't choose sides for his students. He would teach how to read the board. Legend says Su Qin once hung the seals of 6 states at his waist and passed his home village. His sister-in-law crawled on the ground. He asked why she was proud before and humble now. She answered, because your rank is high and your gold is many. Status changed. Attitude changed. The line is cold. It's human. Whether Su Qin felt proud, history doesn't say. Readers feel uneasy. If winning means making someone kneel, is that winning? If Guiguzi only taught winning, he wouldn't have left softer words like inner key and mirroring. He teaches you to see through. He also teaches you to choose. What kind of win do you want? Sun Bin and Pang Wan were also students of Ghost Valley. Their story is harsher. They studied together. Pang Wan went down the mountain first and rose in Wei. He feared Sun Bin would surpass him, set a trap, and mutilated him, so he lost his name and became Sun Bin, the maimed one. Sun Bin later fled to Qi, ambushed Pang Wan at Mailing, and Pang Wan died, saying, legend has it, that he had made the boy's name. Guiguzi's learning in different hands could save states or harm people. The book is like a knife. The technique is taught fine. If the heart tilts, the knife tilts. Reading Guiguzi, I often pause. It teaches you to read hearts. It also pushes you to ask your own heart. How far will you push speech? How far will you push winning? The opening loop can close now. Why could one teacher train both vertical alliance and horizontal alliance? Because he didn't teach always stand on this side. He taught how to read momentum. How to read people. How to speak. When momentum shifts, the road shifts. Su Qin saw 6 states sharing fear of Qin and united them. Zhang Yi saw 6 states doubting each other and linked them horizontally. Same method. Different direction. Not favoritism from the teacher. Different cracks chosen by the students. In daylight you can learn that too. Not one script for every room. Read the board first. Then choose how to speak. Ghost Valley legend says the master taught more than rhetoric. He taught astronomy, geography, military arts. Sun Bin commanded armies.
Pangwan commanded armies. Both came from one gate.
So Guiguzi is not a little book of mere talk. Behind it is a whole art of reading momentum.
How the realm moves. How hearts move.
So your words can keep pace. If you've heard our episode on the art of war, you might picture Sun Tzu as the map of momentum and Guiguzi as the map of people. Lay the two maps together and you're closer to the full wisdom of the warring states.
Guiguzi is not Mencius.
Mencius asks your heart to hold goodness and your bones to hold firmness. Guiguzi asks your eyes to stay bright, your words to stay precise, your hand to stay steady.
One warms.
One chills.
One pushes inward toward cannot bear.
One looks outward toward gain and loss.
They're not pure opposites. Mencius also said weigh and you know heavy and light.
Measure and you know long and short.
Weighing was already a Confucian word. Guiguzi applied weighing to speech and diplomacy, finer and colder. Tonight you needn't pick a camp. Know this.
At night think with Mencius. By day, when you must settle words with less hurt, sometimes you need a little from Ghost Valley.
Listen first. Then speak.
The book also carries a short text called The 7 Arts of the Yin Talisman of the Root Classic, said to come from the same line. It speaks of nurturing will, nurturing breath, reaching stillness like an inner steadiness added beside cold technique.
Guiguzi is not only a creature of calculation.
He asks students to set the will first, then move the plan.
Without will, plans drift.
With a restless heart, words turn sharp. If you read the whole volume only as how to win, the book narrows. If you read it as how to see clearly and how to speak less wrong, the book steadies. On this page before sleep, remember only this.
Settle first. Then respond.
When the heart is noisy, one sentence less often beats one sentence more. Many famous scenes in the stratagems of the warring states belong to the persuaders' mouths.
Su Qin before the king of Han or Qi. Zhang Yi deceiving Chu and breaking vertical alliance. The blades are sharp. Underneath is often Guiguzi's sequence. Size up. Probe. Open and close. Mirror. Zhang Yi's 600 li becoming 6 li is an extreme show outer clearly. Speak to the side they want to hear. Then draw in slowly. Scholars dispute the history. We needn't prove every line tonight. Feel this much. Speech has structure. It's not random collision. Wrong structure and even sincerity can hit a wall.
There are also essays on turning the circle, lessening an exchange, and meeting opposition. The titles sound obscure.
The sense is close.
Turn the circle means speech should curve, not die on one line.
Lessen an exchange means retreat when you should, swap roads when you should. Meeting opposition means when views clash, how to find a point of join. You needn't memorize essay names.
Know that Guiguzi never teaches one road to the end.
If talk fails, change time.
If time fails, change angle. If angle fails, ask whether the key was wrong.
That's a lot like Review Today, written 2,300 years ago. In meeting opposition there is another line. Nothing in the world stays forever precious.
No method stays forever the master.
Remember that tonight and you won't read Guiguzi dead. Opening and closing is not always open or always close. Flying clamps are not always lifting. Inner keys change too. Hearts change. Momentum changes. Words must change. Change is not having no principle. It's flexibility when principle meets the ground. Today Guiguzi is often called China's earliest negotiation and persuasion psychology. That's a big claim. The direction is not wrong.
It speaks of listening, mirroring, timing, leverage, keys inside relationship. Modern negotiation classes also say ask first, then state. Think first, then guide. Don't push hard at the peak of emotion. Have hearts changed in 2300 years? Some. Not enough to erase the old pattern. People still want face. Still want safety. Still change tone after feeling understood. What makes Guiguzi strong is writing this as steps you can practice, not as vague be good at talking. If you sell, manage, or parent, you've probably met the same trouble. The reasoning is right. The words won't enter. When words won't enter, the reasoning is often not the problem. The door is shut. The whole book is really about how to knock. Sometimes knock lightly. Sometimes listen for movement inside first. Sometimes try another door. It doesn't promise success every time. It lowers the chance you speak wrong, speak dead, speak hurt. Remember that before sleep more than 6 old terms. We must also say this clearly. Through history the book was criticized. Some felt the horizontal school prized gain over righteousness and taught power games, not kingly way. Writers like Han Fei were not always kind to persuaders. Confucians speak of yielding in speech. Strategists speak of reading and probing. The temperaments differ. Yet Confucius also met rulers. Mencius also met rulers. Their speech also advanced and retreated. The difference is this. Guiguzi wrote advance and retreat as technique. Mencius bound advance and retreat to duty. Read Guiguzi not as righteousness does not matter, but as righteousness must land, and landing starts with hearing the person. Sima Qian wrote the records of the grand historian with biographies for Su Qin and Zhang Yi, yet his mention of Guiguzi stays faint. Later novels and opera made him a half-immortal or a lofty recluse. Don't believe every myth. Still, it shows Chinese curiosity about this shadow teacher. Why did he never come down from the hills? Maybe staying on the mountain was his greatest opening and closing. Close fame. Open the learning to students. Tonight you needn't chase his true face. Chase his questions. What does the other person want? What do they fear? Is my next sentence open or close? Guiguzi himself said the sage's way of holding the path lies in hiding and concealing. The way should hide. That's not teaching lies. It's teaching you not to spread your heart and your bottom cards across the table. Technique is protection. Technique is boundary. If you read Guiguzi as how to control others, you read crooked. Read it as how to misunderstand less, collide less hard, and settle matters more gently. That's closer to what bedtime should leave you. Control others and sleep runs thin. Settle matters and the chest lightens a little. We're about halfway through the program. In this breath between thoughts, one small favor. If tonight's voice has kept you company, tap like and subscribe. Leave a lamp for me in the night. You needn't sit up. One finger is enough. Good. We continue with Guiguzi. Next I want to gather a few terms for you so that after sleep you remember more than cold. Opening and closing, remember the rhythm of open and shut. Mirroring, remember reflect first, then push. Sizing and probing, remember watch first, test second. Flying clamps, remember bridge with their own words. Inner key, remember find the latch in the heart. Finding the crack, remember don't ram, find the seam. 6 terms, 6 acts. You may carry only one. From tonight on, when you speak with someone, listen half a minute longer first. Guiguzi has another line that fits night thinking. The knower does not show the method. The one who shows the method may not truly know.
The most skilled person doesn't wear every move on the face.
The tricks you see are sometimes only the surface. If you learn a few moves and rush to use them, you often miss the point.
Speech is like walking. You practice steadiness, not display. If by day you feel you won the argument, ask, did the matter settle? Will they still want to see me next time? Winning the mouth is not winning. In the planning chapter, Guiguzi says planning is hardest when it must be tight. Speaking is hardest when you must hear the subtle. Hearing the subtle doesn't mean hearing a low voice. It means hearing the half not spoken. When they say I will think about it, maybe fear sits under it. When they say either way is fine, maybe it's brush off. When they say you decide, maybe they're handing the weight back. Hear the subtle without exposing it. Adjust your next line. Tonight you needn't become expert. Remember only this. When you haven't understood, don't rush to judge. Another detail. Guiguzi weighs timing heavily. Speak when you should speak. Stay silent when you should stay silent.
When they're angry, don't push against the flame. When they doubt, don't shove. He says if you speak and there is no response, your words missed, not because they were too quiet, but because timing was wrong or the words missed the point. That explains many hurts. You weren't lazy. The hour was wrong. Try tomorrow. Or try another door. Compared with the art of war, Sun Tzu speaks momentum, tempo calculation, winning and planning before battle. Guiguzi speaks speech, understanding before you speak. One leans toward the battlefield. One leans toward the negotiation table. One asks how to win the fight. One asks how to earn a nod. Sun Tzu and Guiguzi are often read together. That's not accident. If you heard our Art of War episode, you may remember winning without fighting. Guiguzi's matching line is closer to this. Subdue without brute force, through understanding. Understanding is not mind reading. It's willingness to spend time watching. If you heard our Book of Changes episode, you remember change. Guiguzi also finds seams inside change. If you heard the Analects, you remember listen to words and watch deeds. Guiguzi splits watching finer, counting silence, pause, urgency in the eyes. Classics can confirm one another. You needn't choose one and reject the rest. Feel only this tonight. Chinese tradition long held a line on how to speak well. Guiguzi is the coldest and finest branch of that line. Guiguzi is short. Later commentators are many. Su Xin in the Eastern Jin. Qin Zhang in the Tang. We're not doing textual history tonight. Follow one thread. In warring states chaos, information was scarce, trust was hard, speech was power. Today information is thick. Speech still has power. Only the forms changed. Email. Chat. Meetings. The family table. Forms change. The small fears, wants, and hopes in people remain. So the book has not expired. Just don't read it as secret manual. Read it as reminder. That's enough. The book's temper can close in one line. Examine their intent. Know their plan. Then you can respond. See what they think and want. Then decide how you answer. Respond is not kneeling. Not ramming. It's fitting. Fitting is the word to keep at bedtime. Fit your parents. Fit your partner. Fit colleagues. Fit strangers too. Fitting is not fake. It's hurting others less and hurting yourself less. Guiguzi's students met different fates. Qin and Zhang Yi filled the world with names and also with blame. Sun Bin took revenge and paid a price.
Pangwan harmed others and ended harming himself. The teacher taught method. The road was still their choice. Remember the teacher tonight. Remember the students too.
Method can be learned. The heart you must guard yourself.
Mencius won't hold your scale for you. Guiguzi won't close your eyes for you.
One book asks whether goodness still lives in your heart. One asks whether you still see a road with your eyes.
Asking both is not greed.
If you worry Guiguzi is too dark, here's a gentler use.
With people you love you can still use Guiguzi. Listen first. Find the key. Find the crack. Don't ram.
With a child, probe lightly what they fear, then open a little reason.
With an elder, mirror their worry first, then softly say your plan. Method is not only for enemies.
Method is patience for hard words.
Couples often quarrel because both keep opening and nobody closes. Tonight try closing in your mind first. One less line thrown back. One more line, I hear you.
Friends drift when the key was wrong, yet old reasons repeat.
Change the key. That's not flattery. It's respect. Guiguzi's moves in close bonds are not calculation. They're less hurt. Calculation makes sleep thin. Less hurt lets you still walk side by side. At work Guiguzi is often misread as office thick black. Thick black only cares about winning. Guiguzi also asks what happens after you win. You win one negotiation. Do you still want the relationship? You take one project. Do you still want the team?
Flying clamps and inner keys used only to press people may work short-term and turn back long-term.
The seasoned person leaves a seaman's speech and a road in the matter. If you use technique by day, ask tonight, did I speak the road dead? Dead roads make tomorrow's talk harder.
Near the end I want one relatively soft line from Guiguzi to gather you in. He says what you wish near may part. What you wish far may draw near.
Things cannot all go your way. Accept that and speech slows. The heart softens.
If something didn't settle tonight, don't lie down with a head full of win and loss.
The matter can wait until tomorrow.
The person remains.
The road remains.
Beyond the 7 arts there is also talisman speech. Words should have image.
Affairs should allow proof. Big empty doctrine before sleep helps less than one small step tomorrow, watching reaction, probing again, responding again. This page is for doers.
It's also for us who love to dream big.
Say one line less that is huge. Try one line that is small.
The closing temper of the whole book is not in winning.
It's in no defeat. Not win every battle. Lose less. Regret less. Speak less absolute. Guiguzi taught strategists, yet repeats you may advance and retreat, stretch and bend. You stretched all day.
Now bend and hand the rest to sleep.
Tomorrow you may open and close again. There is time. Some fear reading Guiguzi means every sentence becomes calculation. One cure is to keep a little dullness on purpose. With family, sometimes don't calculate. With friends, sometimes speak straight. Calculation is method. Dullness is heart. If heart stays, method won't slide into shadow. If heart tilts, method will harm. Tonight you needn't become a strategist.
Become only the self who speaks one less wrong sentence and hurts one less time. Then Guiguzi's cold warms a little in your hands.
I've said a lot tonight. You don't need to remember. Truly. Not one line. Guiguzi is not for memorizing.
It's like an elder who speaks little and sees sharply.
You pass and hear 2 sentences. That's enough. Fall asleep with only a feeling. Maybe listen first, then speak. Maybe find the seam and don't ram.
Maybe the shadow teacher in the deep hills who never came down to claim a name. Before good night, one small question. Among all tonight's sentences, which word do you most want to carry away?
Opening and closing. Mirroring. Inner key. No rush to answer now. After you wake, tell me in the comments. I read every one. If you like nights like this, subscribe to the channel and tap the little bell. On the next sleepless evening I can find you again. Next episode we read Vegetable Roots Discourse. Guiguzi taught us to read hearts in chaos. A Ming recluse will teach us to taste 100 flavors from vegetable roots. Smaller. Lighter. Better for the pillow. Guiguzi has one more line I save for your ending tonight. Stillness moves. Settledness responds. Let the heart quiet first. Then you can answer 10,000 shifts. You were busy all day. Now is the hour to gather the heart and hand it to the bed. You needn't win outward tonight. The scale is in your chest. The eyes are on your face. Both may rest. Let the lamp stay dim. Nothing needs fighting. Nothing needs calculating. Tomorrow you'll be a person again. Tonight be only the lightest part of being human. Someone lying down. If Guiguzi could see you, he might say that is enough. Set today down. Leave tomorrow for tomorrow. Sleep. Good dreams for tonight. This is Bedside Book Voice. Good night, see you in the pages.